hello.
Hello, Connecticut. I'm Renee Danino. Please welcome my partners in the community. I couldn't be any more honored to be partnered with Dime Bank. And we have a couple of great guests here with us today. Dee Sullivan is our Vice President and Executive Administration and Foundation Director. Oh my. And Molly Devaney. Oh my gosh, how much do we love Molly, Executive Director of Rebuilding Together of Manchester. And maybe you've heard of them, Highland Park Market. She's their VP. Hi, ladies.
Hi, Renee. Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure to have you here, Molly. You know it's a pleasure to have you here. I don't want to call you out. This is so embarrassing, but I assume that when you come, you would always bring me Highland Park meatloaf.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Did you think about that when you walked in today without the meatloaf? Have you ever had better meatloaf? No, you haven't. It's at Highland Park Market. Anyways, first and foremost, though, thank you for being a partner in our community. Why don't we start with you, Dee, and just remind our audience about, Dime Bank, who you are and how you help.
Yeah, so Dime Bank is a mutual bank. We have over $1 billion in assets. We have 14 branches across southeastern Connecticut and right here in Hartford, in the Hartford market. We have one branch in Westerly, Rhode Island. Our foundation was started in 1998 as a way to give back to the communities that we serve. And last year alone, we were able to grant over $330,000 to 80 organizations. So we're very proud of that.
Yeah, and I've seen some of that work firsthand. And Molly, you're not only a part of Rebuilding Together, but you're also a Dime Bank client. So you actually can experience this and you can talk about it firsthand as well, right?
Yeah, Dime Bank is an incredible community partner. They are unbelievable, whether it's getting volunteers, coming out and being part of the chamber volunteer programs that they have. They are there to help and to support the community. Their foundation has been extremely generous to our program, Rebuilding Together in Manchester, but a lot of other nonprofits within Manchester as well. So we're just so excited to have them in our community.
And take this opportunity to let our audience know who Rebuilding Together is, and maybe they haven't heard about it and how they can be involved.
Sure. Well, Dee has been one of our volunteers of Rebuilding Together, and we are essentially what we do is try to keep people in their homes as long as possible. So we have all homeowners apply to our program, and we provide handicap accessibility into homes. So whether it's doing bathroom modifications for homeowners, so we do that. We help them with spring cleanups in the spring that need to get done. We help them anything in the house that helps renovate kitchens sometimes because we need to make it handicap accessible or lower for families to really just make it so they can stay in their home as long as possible. A lot of ramps, a lot of grab bars.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you obviously you have a generational family business, Highland Park Market, but how do you have the time or what drives you to give back to the community and do all this extra stuff too?
Well, it's one of those things that we were taught, to give back to the community. Right. You like to be, and it's a pleasure doing business with a company that believes the same values that we have at Highland Park, the same thing with Dime Bank. And, you go in and they make service is easy there. You walk in there, they know your name, they take care of you. You're not a number, you're a person. And I think that's really special about Dime.
And Dee, to that point, I mean, obviously you have your day-to-day duties that you need in your role and responsibility, but then you have this foundation, then you are looking through maybe even requests for help. How does one go about getting help from Dime Bank? Do they need to be a client? Do they need to be a part of a committee? How does that work?
So they do not need to be a customer of the bank. They need a 501c3 tax-exempt designation, and they have to serve folks who live in Dime's communities. So if they go to the website, dime-bank.com.
Dime-bank.com. And you know what, Harry, we'll just throw it up on the screen for you. That's all the information you need right there. Go online, but they can get all the details.
All the details, our funding priorities, the towns that we serve. There's an application, and I'm always available to take phone calls if folks want to chat about what they would like us to fund.
And your community banking is such a difference, too, because I know there's a real feel when you walk in there that you are, to what Molly's point is, you're not a number, but actually all the employees make such a difference too. You really focus on what drives your employees daily to go to work and then want to do good. And so it's almost just like they know they're working at a company that wants to support them in their communities too.
Yes, we've really been able, as we've grown, we've really been able to keep those small community bank values.
Absolutely. And outside of Rebuilding Together, I know from People to Pets, Military to Hunger, and all the initiatives we did last year, right, leading into the holidays, you guys were out there supporting the community. Can you talk a little bit about, if somebody wants to help or volunteer or be a part of, say, the Rebuilding Together or whatever, when should they start applying, or when should they start asking? I mean, is it just really one stop on the website?
So we have 3 disbursements throughout the year.
Okay.
Typically March, July, and October. The deadlines for applications are listed on the website.
Okay. And are there any, outside of being within serving the communities of Dime Bank, are there any other rules or regulations?
As long as they have a tax-exempt status.
And tell me a little bit from personal experience, Molly, because you're out there. You're not just supporting Rebuilding Together. You're out there with your hammer. So tell me about what you've done.
Yeah, well, we've done a lot, and it's great. You know, you have partnerships. There's a lot of different people that can do, anybody can do anything with rebuilding, which is great. So we have a banker with Dime Bank who comes, and he is probably the best landscaper I know. He's meticulous with his job. So you don't necessarily have to be a skilled contractor.
Oh, good.
Anybody can volunteer. And I think that's the beauty of our organization, is that it really allows opportunities for kids of all ages. So we get a lot of high school kids that come in, we get college kids, we get primary school kids. So I love that, because then they work with church groups and they work with adults and skilled contractors. Skilled contractors love to teach people how to do certain things. So it's pretty cool.
Well, and I love the fact that your family, generational Highland Park Market, we're not going to get into grocery prices, I promise you right now, but you can feel good about shopping small and local because they're giving back to the community, right?
Yes.
I thought I saw a little shock on your face. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not Barbara Walters here. We're not talking about that. But we do want you to support local, and that's what the feel is when you're at Dime Bank. You're not just a customer, and you're not just a number. You are part of the family. All of the details about Dime Bank, all of their programs, you can see that online. Dee, it was a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you so
and of course,
much.
Molly, I'll forgive you about the meatloaf this time.
Next time.
Time, you're bringing the meatloaf. Coming up, we have a great way to wrap our show. No surprise, there's dogs involved. Cheshire Fire Department and therapy dogs up next after this break.